It's our favorite snack these days, and I'm showing you 7 things you can do with hard-boiled eggs besides deviled eggs. I'm gonna start with my new favorite way to eat hard-boiled eggs. It's the Korean style soy marinated eggs. They've been viral on social media. I tried them out, and now it's the only way I want my hard-boiled eggs. Of course, we gotta start by making some boiled eggs. I'm not gonna show you how to make hard-boiled eggs 7 times, but I'm gonna show you a couple ways in this episode. Bring your water to a boil. I've added a bunch of salt to it, and then lower your eggs in, go 11 minutes. You don't want it to be rolling boil, obviously, just like a slow simmer. If you lower them with a slotted spoon, less risk of them breaking. All right, while the eggs are cooking, we make the marinade. Y'all, the umami sensation that goes on in these eggs, it's unmatched. That means it just tastes good, really good. So I've chopped up 2 jalapenos. I've left some of the seeds in because I like the kick. 3 green onions. All right, and then you just mix up the marinade, a cup of water and a cup of soy sauce, 1/4 cup of sugar. Then recipe says to add some sesame oil at the end. I just do it now. And then a jalapeno, green onion, tablespoon of minced garlic, and then a couple teaspoons of sesame seeds, and that's it. And you just stir this up until the sugar dissolves and pour it over our eggs. It doesn't get much easier than this, but I'm telling you, once you eat your eggs like this, you won't go back. 11 minutes up, take them out of the water and into the ice bath. This is going to stop the cooking and make it easier for them to peel. A friend told me that the salt water is what helps these peel easily, and that did peel easily. These are fresh eggs. Then get yourself a mason jar or Tupperware, add your eggs in, pour in your marinade. Let them go at least 8 hours. Lucky for you, I did some yesterday. Look at the color. It's like you dyed your Easter eggs. This is how I eat it to get the perfect bite. You can get the perfect bite just with the marinade. You can see how the marinade has flavored the egg white. That yolk, perfectly jammy. Get some of the marinade, drizzle it right on top. You see the flavor in the perfect bite? This is that. The saltiness. Oh my God, it's so perfect. This flavor is so addicting. Like you can't get enough. This, 12 out of 10. Creamed eggs on toast. How does that sound? This is not only a different way to serve up your eggs with toast, it's also an example of a depression meal that is just genius. It's a depression meal because you can get your protein in. It's like a meat substitute. Eggs were a lot cheaper than meat. Now eggs are still not what I would call cheap, but another name for this could be called goldenrod eggs, where you save the yolks to put on top and it looks like the goldenrod flowers. That's kind of what I'm gonna do. You could just chop it all up together, but I'm gonna separate the yolks and you'll see why. We're gonna make a little gravy, stir in the eggs and pour it over toast. Very simple. I like this meal because in the morning you can kind of make it a little ahead of time and not stand over the stove and make, be a short order cook. You can make kind of one big batch of this. Serve it over toast when you're ready. So chop up the whites. This to me is a meal that would also probably cost you $0 because you have everything on hand. It's all pantry staples. Just kind of always want to do this because it just doesn't have to be perfect. Right, everything else happens at the stove. All we're doing is making a simple white gravy, butter, flour, milk. A couple tablespoons of butter, melt that down and add in a couple tablespoons of flour. Give that a little whisk, cook it for about a minute or 2. And then I'm gonna do a combination of milk and heavy cream just to make this rich and indulgent. Break up any lumps and then just bring that to a simmer. Once it comes to a simmer, you'll know how thick it's really gonna get. And you can decide if you wanna add more cream or not. All right, it's gotten thick and rich. I like that consistency, so now we just finish it off. Also a good dinner if you've got your hard-boiled eggs that you've batch prepared at the beginning of the week. You can have this dinner on your table in like 15 minutes. So now we stir in our egg whites. I'm gonna do a little hot sauce, a little salt and pepper. Look at that, creamed eggs. Adding that egg in there tightens it up even more, so you can adjust again after you've done that if you need to add a little more milk or cream. At this point, you could also stir in some chopped ham if you want, turn this into even a meatier situation. Now, let me show you how to make this a fancy presentation. All right, toast, gravy, plenty of it. All right, and then the goldenrod flour. Let's put up a picture to show the goldenrod flour. Truthfully, you can just kind of crumble it on, or you can use a microplane and grate it on. This is the meal, perfectly fine just like this. I like texture. So I'm gonna add some green onion and some crunchy bacon. Now, does that not look so good? The $0 dinner / breakfast / lunch, creamed eggs on toast. That right there. Oh my God. I'm a little more excited about this than I should be, I know, but that humble hard-boiled egg is a superhero. I don't know if I can tell you how good this is. Like, it's better than it should be. What do I say? Sometimes the simplest things are indeed the best, and this right here is a 10 out of 10 example of that. Now I'm showing you my new favorite way to serve up deviled eggs, deviled egg dip. This is the perfect thing to bring to a party when you don't want to sit there and fill a bunch of eggs, and also if you don't have the deviled egg tray where all the eggs sit still, then they roll over and they get all messy. We're about to solve that problem. This deviled egg dip also starts with my favorite hack for cooking hard-boiled eggs when you're gonna chop them up anyway, in the loaf pan. You've seen this in the egg hack video, but in case you missed it, I'm gonna show you again. I just love it because if you're gonna chop up the eggs anyway, they don't have to look perfect. We cook them in a little water bath, so they slow cook and they actually taste like a hard-boiled egg, not just a baked egg or something else. Whoever thought of this one was smart. Set it inside another dish, whichever dish is just slightly bigger than your loaf pan, and then you're gonna add water to the outside pan, and you just want it to come high enough to where it reaches the height of the eggs. Then this goes into the oven, 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. And you don't have to babysit anything, you can just get your other stuff for your dip ready. Eggs are done, they're all set, then just take them out of the water and let them cool a little bit. Eggs are cooled, we don't have to chop them. We don't have to separate the yolks and the whites, they're going straight into the food processor. See how perfectly they're cooked? That yolk is just barely set. It's like a perfect hard-boiled egg. In we go, and now you want to chop this until it's very finely chopped. Okay, now we turn it into a dip. Deviled eggs don't typically have cream cheese, but dips do. So it's the perfect marriage. But deviled eggs do have mayonnaise. So I'm also gonna put in some mayonnaise, and then I'm gonna let that go until it's super smooth. Looking smooth. I'm gonna add in just the white parts of some green onion, yellow mustard, a little Worcestershire, and a little Cajun seasoning. Now keep going until it's really smooth. Final ingredient, just to stir in at the last minute, some relish. You can do dill or sweet relish. And then one final pulse. Deviled eggs right there in dip form. All right, then you gotta transfer this to a bowl so that it'll set up a little bit. But this is a dip you can totally make in advance. You just wanna refrigerate it for at least a couple hours so that it firms up a little bit. I'm telling you, you're gonna like this one. This is what you're bringing to your next party. Now, you want to top it, make it look like a deviled egg. And then my grandmother and my mom always, on deviled eggs, would put a slice of green olive. You could also fold some in if you want to. And then every deviled egg just has to have a little paprika sprinkle. Now that looks like a deviled egg. All right, let's dig in. That's just perfect. I don't know what else to say, but it's all the flavors of a deviled egg in a simple bowl. Next up, I'm trying something I've never done before with a hard-boiled egg. Hard-boiled egg casserole. Sounds a little weird at first, but it's sort of like a creamed eggs a little bit, but in casserole form, and a new way to serve up an egg casserole. And in doing my research for this episode, I'm like, that sounds delicious. I've never had it. I bet they'd never have it. Am I right? I start by buttering a dish. All right, I've already gone ahead and boiled some eggs. I'm just gonna cut them in half and place them cut side down in the dish. This feels like a good little brunch thing to do. Perfect. And now we're gonna make a creamy cheese sauce to pour on the top. I'm gonna start by melting some butter, just like we did before, and with equal parts flour. Cook that down for a couple minutes to get some of that starchy taste out, and then gradually go in with 2 cups of half and half. This is gonna be the way to make your hard-boiled eggs fancy. And then, per usual, bring it up to a simmer. It's starting to get nice and velvety, so I'm gonna season it up. A little bit of dried mustard, classic in a bechamel, which that's what this is. A little garlic powder and salt and pepper. We let it simmer for a few minutes, and I'll stir in the cheese. Going in with Gruyere cheese. So again, it's just an elevated experience when you bring this out. Then I'm just going to cut the heat and stir in all this goodness. I mean, how can this be bad? We just have not been enjoying hard-boiled eggs to their full potential. It's gonna be like hard-boiled eggs gratin, like au gratin potatoes, but eggs. Where has this been my whole life? And then we top with Parmesan cheese. To the oven, 350 degrees until it's bubbly and golden. About 25 minutes. Look at this. I'm telling you, never have hard-boiled eggs upgraded like this. Hopefully it tastes as good as it smells. Gonna add on some fresh chives. It really does. It reminds you of like a potato dish, but low carb / keto. I feel like this is something you'd probably want to serve with a salad, something to cut some of this richness. I've also buttered some toast because you know you're gonna want to scoop up all that good stuff. Might even get a little hot sauce in there. Doing this together for the first time. It's good. The egg here is cooked like hard, hard cooked egg for sure. Taste elevated, taste like something you would get in a French bistro. It is a great little brunch thing. I think this is a good start. I don't think you could eat a ton of it because it is so rich, but I think serving this up like as a first course would be a good idea. I like it. I would do it again because I think it's gonna surprise people. Like it's the thing you show up with or serve to your company and you're like, never had that before. Now you didn't think I could do a hard-boiled egg episode without including egg salad, but we're upgrading it. This is a loaded egg salad. This is another time where I'm using that boiled egg hack in a loaf pan because it just makes sense here. We're chopping the eggs anyway. No need to keep the whites and the yolks separate. We did 12 eggs this time, so it takes about 5 to 10 minutes longer than the 8 I did earlier. I'll show you another hack inside of a hack. Wire rack. We don't even have to chop. You can just push these eggs right on through. All right, now time to load it up. When you hear the word loaded, like loaded potato skins, you know what that means. Bacon. I love egg salad. My favorite way to eat egg salad is on bread, but it's also good to serve up with crackers. But there's nothing like an egg salad sandwich. Bacon, sweet relish, some chopped celery, a little bit of white onion or sweet onion. And I'm also gonna add in a little green onion because I just want more color in there. And I think about loaded potato skins and they usually have green onions on top. That's the gist of the toppings. Now we make it creamy. Mayonnaise, of course, a little bit of yellow mustard, a little sriracha, and a little Worcestershire. Sounds good to me. Some dried dill, a little paprika, and a little salt and pepper. See how we're looking. Almost looks like potato salad without the potatoes. That's not your grandmother's egg salad right there. Man, so much easier than peeling and chopping all those eggs. Now, let's serve this how it is intended to be. This is how you properly serve up an egg salad on the old school white bread. Another example of simplicity at its finest. Load it on, show up with these tea sandwiches, and they'll be like, no, that's the best egg salad I've ever had. You can toast the bread, but if I need like a little taste of nostalgia, it's this. It's soft and unhealthy, only in triangles. I feel like you can already taste the softness of this bread in your mouth. Today's most traditional way to serve up a hard-boiled egg, but in an updated fashion. I feel like I need an ice-cold Coca-Cola to really round it out. If you like egg salad, you are going to absolutely love this. I've got 2 more ways to serve up hard-boiled eggs that I bet you've never tried before. Starting with egg curry. This is the dinner you make when you don't have time, you don't have groceries, and you don't have any money. Starting with a little oil in our pan, and then down with some onions. We're gonna cook these until they're good and soft. You know how much I enjoyed those soy marinated eggs? Because they just have so much flavor infused into the egg. This is gonna be a similar situation, just a little bit different flavor profile. Right, so these are gonna take about 5 minutes to cook till they're nice, soft, and browned. Now time to bring the flavor. Garlic paste and ginger paste, coriander, cumin, turmeric, chili powder, and black pepper. Let that toast in there. All right, and then we are going to lift up some of that flavor with some acid. So a little bit of tomato puree. I imagine you could also do chopped up tomato here if you want. You want to let this cook until that tomato flavor concentrates, kind of caramelizes in there. A couple minutes. You know the deal, color equals flavor. And then we'll add in some water. Fast and easy dinner, indeed. Also adding in a splash of vinegar and the star of the show. Let them get all happy in that sauce. Then you want them to kind of warm all the way through. This one, at first I was a little questionable, but doing my research, I was like, actually, that sounds pretty good. Italians, sometimes we put hard-boiled eggs in our Sunday sauce and let them absorb. This is just another version of that. Wish I could smell it. Now, I don't think my kids would be into this, but on nights when I don't really have to cook for them, this is totally something I would make. My first time having egg curry. 10 out of 10 after the first bite. Yes, the egg becomes almost like velvety in there. And that flavor, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, if you make this, double up the sauce ingredients because you're gonna just like wanna bathe in it. Could be my favorite surprise of the day. Here's one that I bet you've never made, but we are bringing it back. This is going to be the sauce of spring and summer. Sauce Gribiche. Okay, sounds fancy, but it's just a glorified tartar sauce. The little something different you didn't know you needed. So this is a sauce whose primary ingredient is hard-boiled eggs. We are gonna start by separating the yolks from the whites. It's even better if your yolks are a little bit jammy like this. Just like when you have your company over and you're serving something maybe really simple, but you say, oh, but I'm serving it with sauce gribiche. Thank me later. All right, so we're getting our base done just as if you were making a dressing or a mayonnaise. You add your egg yolks with a little vinegar, some Dijon mustard that also helps with emulsification, but it's also a great flavor, and a little salt and pepper. Almost like a hollandaise meets a tartar sauce meets a mayonnaise. Whip this up until it's good and smooth. We're also going to chop up some cornichon and add in, but I'm also gonna add a little of the brine in here. I want this to be as smooth as possible. Here's how we're looking. It's gonna be good. Now we're going to add the oil and turn it into a full sauce here. So while your food processor is going, you can also do this in a blender, or you can just whisk it by hand. You're gonna slowly drizzle in oil. And we have a good bit of acid in there, so it's gonna take a good bit of oil. Let's see how we're doing. It's looking good. You don't want it to be too acidic, so taste it, and then you probably need more oil. Transferring this to a bowl, and now we stir everything else in like we're making a tartar sauce. All right, we're not ignoring our whites. We're gonna chop those up finely and stir that in. Then you gotta chop up some of those cornichon. That is just the classic pickle used for this. If you just want to do whatever pickles you have on hand, I won't tell anybody. Also, nobody's gonna care. But this really is the perfect thing to make if you have meal prepped hard-boiled eggs and you come to the end of the week and you haven't eaten them all, to make this, and then it's gonna last a long time in the fridge also. Hindsight's 20/20, so you could chop all this in the food processor before you make your sauce, and then stir your sauce into this. Capers, gonna give those a rough chop too. And then some fresh herbs to brighten this up. We've got our like salty brininess in there. Now you wanna kick it up, so I'm going in with fresh parsley. Tarragon, which is classic in this recipe, so this is the time to buy it. And then I like a little pungency, some fresh chives in here. And now we stir. And we see how we did. Spoon this over some grilled shrimp and any of your spring vegetables. Here's an example of how you can turn something classic into something over the top and special. I've got some simple crab cakes. Sauce Gribiche is the perfect topping for that. Trust me, if you like a tartar sauce, this is just that something different, slightly richer, a little more flavor because the herbs are different. Good place to start. One of the most classic ways to serve up the sauce is over asparagus. You know, with the springtime coming, you'll be having these, some sauce over it, and your simple side dish is done. Oh yeah, 100%. Why haven't we done this more often? Even though deviled eggs are delicious, here are 7 special ways to use up those hard-boiled eggs, none of which will disappoint you. And cut.